Shalom, everyone. You know, by the time you get to this week's Torah portion, and yes, we're talking Torah again, the portion is called Re'eh, one of the later ones in the book of Deuteronomy, Dvarim. You know that you're getting closer to the High Holy Days. Now, the portion itself does not necessarily have anything to say about the High Holy Days, but the message is very relevant to the season of the soul that we're approaching. The word re'eh means look, which is a very common word in our everyday language. You know, we say all the time, we say, look, here's what I'm thinking, or look, I really meant to say. So it's very, very common. But in Judaism, not necessarily quite as common. It's not a very common command. In our tradition, we are more of a oral sense, auditory sense, more about hearing, not so much about seeing. There's a very famous verse in which God says, when speaking about the revelation at Sinai, God says, "You saw nothing at Horeb being Sinai, but what you heard will last forever." In other words, you didn't see any image of myself at Sinai, but my words are what will stick with you. So the whole tradition is based on the notion, our tradition, that what you see is less real than what you can't see. That's, by the way, why we don't have images of God in our synagogue. And our most important phrase, Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel, right? By the way, the word Shema shows up 92 times in the book of Deuteronomy. Interesting, huh? So hearing is what we've always been about, right? And for a culture like ourselves, a people like ourselves, moving so much from country to country because of life's travails, not putting up gorgeous cathedrals, but it's the soul. We were the people of teaching, people of learning, people of soul. That's what we're about. So why today's Parsha is so emphasizing the business of seeing? Well, it may have something to do with what we're asked to see. God gives us two things to examine. Gives us a blessing, gives us a curse, saying that if we are well behaved and do the things we should, life will be a blessing. But if we don't, life will be a curse. Look, we are told, I put before you blessing and curse, and you determine which you will get. In other words, a choice is put before us. Introduces us to the notion that this time, maybe we need to have a good visual imagination to see what our life will be like if we make the right choice versus the wrong one. And so as we approach Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, this message takes on extra poignancy, for it says, your actions have consequences. You must be able to envision them, envision all your actions, or your life will be devoid of blessing. So your future life will depend on your actions. That incidentally is also why how we raise our children is so important, right? We need to envision our children as the adults we want them to be, right? Not just give in to the now. It is our job to raise great adults, not necessarily just happy, joyous little children, but the vision of the future must be before us. Teaching them values, teaching them all the things we want them to know and to have. We all need to know that the future will have consequences if the present is not handled properly. Those consequences, if we don't think of them, will probably rear their heads and be unpleasant. You know, later on in the Parsha, there's a verse that says, if there is a poor person among you, don't close your hand. The rabbis took note of that slightly unusual phrasing because it could have said, if there are poor people among you. This is in the singular. And so they put in a really wonderful teaching to teach us. They reminded us, they said there's a reason for this. Because every poor person we encounter and see should be an offense to us. In the neighborhoods in which we live nowadays, a poor person might in fact be easy to miss. So Re'eh says to us, don't miss it. You must see. You must choose to see. Closing your eyes, which would be another choice, that would be the wrong choice. And it would have consequences. Life is about you making the correct choices, the correct moral choices. So Rosh Hashanah is around the corner. Time for us to assess what we're willing to see or ignore, what we're willing to hear, and from whom we will choose to turn away. Re'eh is a call to responsibility, to honest evaluation of what is wrong, that we can help to make more right. We're called by Re'eh to confront even the wrong that is uncomfortable, choosing, even if we must, to disturb the complacency of our blessed lives. So as we accept this challenge, let's determine that in the coming year, we actively both listen and see, that we understand that chain of causation that ends up in either help or neglect, that we understand with said determination that the blessings we yearn for do require work, for they need to be earned. And when attained, they really need to be shared. Let us deepen our understanding of all those with eyes and ears wide open, which in turn will lead to heart and soul deeply inspiring within each of us the passion to work toward a healthy and healed world and a healthy and healed and improved New Year. So Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova Umetuka, a healthy and happy and good New Year.